Have you ever noticed that when you stop reaching out, everything about her behavior shifts? Suddenly she's posting more, looking better, and maybe even dropping subtle hints just for you to see. But here's the twist. It's not just to get your attention. What if I told you there's psychology behind this? In the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly what happens when you pull back and the surprising reasons she reacts the way she does. This isn't just another dating game tactic. It's insight into how attraction really works. Section 1. The initial shock and her need to reclaim control. When you stop reaching out, it triggers a cascade of emotional and psychological reactions in her. Initially, she experiences shock. It's not a mild, fleeting surprise. It's a sudden disruption to her daily rhythm. Think about it. If you've been consistent in communication, she's likely become accustomed to receiving your texts, calls, or messages. You've established a pattern, and now that it's missing, it feels like something vital is gone. This silence leaves her unsettled, and that emotional gap grows with every hour you remain out of contact. It's not just curiosity that arises here. It's a deep-seated need to understand why you've pulled back. When someone's presence is as consistent as yours was, people often take it for granted, thinking it'll always be there. So when the communication stops abruptly, her mind races. She might start questioning everything. Did I do something wrong? Did he lose interest? She'll overthink her last interactions with you, replaying conversations and analyzing every word and gesture, all to find some explanation. Her search for answers becomes all-consuming, as she's not just missing your words, but the security and validation that came with them. Psychologically, humans crave stability and control, especially in social relationships. We tend to feel secure when we can predict and rely on the actions of others. So when you withdraw, she feels a loss of control. This isn't something people easily accept, and her mind instinctively tries to regain that control by thinking of ways to pull you back into communication. This may manifest as subtle social media posts aimed at you, indirect messages, or even sudden attempts to reach out casually. But don't be mistaken, these gestures are not random. They are calculated, even if subconsciously, as she tries to steer the situation back to what feels familiar. Understanding this need for control gives you valuable insight. It shows you that by pulling back, you're allowing her to experience a space where she must confront her own feelings without relying on your constant presence. By remaining calm and composed, you communicate that your value does not depend on her reaction, which allows her to reassess her own intentions and interest in a meaningful way. Section 2. The re-attraction response. Why she suddenly feels drawn to you. Once the initial shock fades, a powerful psychological response called the scarcity effect comes into play. People naturally value things that seem limited or scarce. When you're no longer constantly present, she begins to experience that sense of scarcity. Before, you were readily available. Texts were exchanged freely, and calls were picked up without hesitation. But now, in your absence, you've suddenly become a rare and precious entity, sparking a whole new level of curiosity and attraction. When you stop communicating, her mind goes into overdrive, trying to figure out why. She's not only curious about where you are and what you're doing, but she's also intrigued by the mystery that now surrounds you. This heightened curiosity creates a deep psychological pull, drawing her toward you as she ponders questions she previously wouldn't have given a second thought. Suddenly she's wondering, what's he up to? Who's he with? Is he thinking about me? These questions linger in her mind, and the more she thinks about you, the more invested she becomes. This new level of interest is not accidental. It's a natural response when something that was once readily available becomes elusive. She starts to reevaluate what she feels about you, even romanticizing the connection in her mind. The mystery surrounding you makes you seem more valuable and desirable than before, purely because she's not accustomed to the absence. It's no longer about routine texts or predictable calls. It's about filling a void that has suddenly made her realize how much she misses what you brought to her life. By resisting the urge to reach out, you allow her to dwell in that curiosity, sparking a reattraction that's deeper and more intense than before. Section 3. The social signal. Why she tries to showcase her best self. One of the clearest signs that she's feeling the weight of your absence is a noticeable change in her behavior on social media. She begins to post more frequently, carefully curating images and captions that portray a lifestyle of confidence, independence, and success. These posts are designed to show the world, and more importantly, you, that she's thriving without you. But what's really happening beneath the surface? While she may be showcasing her best self to the world, it's not just about impressing others. Deep down, she's trying to prove to herself, and maybe even you, that she's fine without your constant presence. This is a subconscious attempt to regain control of the situation and to demonstrate her own value and worth. So when you pull back, you set off a series of psychological reactions that drive her to question, reevaluate, and ultimately reattract. Understanding this dynamic gives you deeper insight into the complex psychology of attraction. You'll notice that she begins posting more frequently, pictures of her looking her best, out with friends, or participating in events she hadn't mentioned before. These aren't just random posts, they're calculated signals directed at you. Psychologically, people tend to present the best version of themselves when they feel they're being observed, especially by someone they value or want to impress. In her mind, these posts are indirect messages saying, "Look at me, I'm thriving without you." It's her way of asserting independence while also hinting at the life she wants you to believe she's living. But beneath this public display, there's a deeper motive. She wants to spark a reaction. She wants to see if these curated images will make you second-guess your decision to pull back. This behavior is rooted in a psychological need to feel validated and desired. By showcasing her best self, she's not just looking for attention from others, she's trying to influence your perception of her. She wants you to see her as someone valuable, someone you'd regret not being with. These posts are carefully crafted to stir a response from you, whether that's jealousy, curiosity, or intrigue. However, by understanding her motivation, you can resist the impulse to engage too quickly. Instead, by not reacting to these posts, you maintain your own composure and avoid falling into her attempt at control. Section 4. The validation trap. Why she seeks attention elsewhere. If her attempts to indirectly reach out don't yield the response she hopes for, she may start seeking attention elsewhere. This could involve spending more time with friends, attending more social events, or even entertaining new romantic interests. At first glance, this might seem like she's moved on or is trying to forget about you. But in reality, this is often a coping mechanism. People are naturally inclined to seek external validation when they feel uncertain or insecure, and in your absence, she's grappling with both. Without the reassurance that your attention once provided, she turns to others to fill that gap temporarily, soothing her ego. This behavior doesn't necessarily mean she's lost interest in you. It's more about filling the void left by your absence. By understanding this, you can avoid reacting impulsively, allowing her to experience the natural consequence of losing your attention. Her actions are likely temporary distractions rather than genuine shifts in her feelings for you. She's attempting to reassert her sense of value by seeing if she can gain that validation from others. This is a common psychological response in relationships where someone feels they've lost a significant connection. When you don't react to her attempts to seek validation elsewhere, you communicate that you're grounded, unaffected, and confident. You reinforce your position as someone who doesn't need to compete for attention, which only makes you more attractive in her eyes. By not letting these temporary distractions influence your response, you maintain your own value while allowing her to realize that the validation she truly craves comes from a genuine connection, not fleeting social interactions. Section 5. The critical turning point, when she realizes what's missing. After going through various stages of coping and distraction, she reaches a critical turning point. This is the moment when she truly feels the depth of your absence. Beyond the initial shock or attempts to regain control, she begins to reflect on what you brought to her life, the unique qualities you possess, and the stability she may have taken for granted. This realization doesn't happen overnight. It takes time for her to come to terms with the fact that your presence was a source of comfort and interest that she may not easily find elsewhere. It's not just about missing the texts or calls. It's about missing the emotional security and sense of companionship she felt with you. She starts to recognize that the other sources of validation she sought out don't provide the same depth or fulfillment. At this point, she understands that her connection with you isn't something easily replaceable. The temporary distractions and social signals fade in importance, and she's left with an undeniable feeling that something significant is missing. It's this depth of realization that often brings her to the decision to reconnect, genuinely, not out of habit or convenience, but out of a true understanding of your unique value. By staying composed and grounded throughout this process, you allow her to come to this turning point on her own. This way, if she does decide to reconnect, it's not because you chased her or tried to manipulate her into coming back. It's a choice she makes because she recognizes and values what you brought to her life. Section 6. Your next move. Why patience and composure matter. When she begins showing renewed interest, it's natural to feel tempted to jump right back into communication. But patience and composure are key here. Composure is your strongest ally. By holding steady, you reinforce the idea that your time and attention are valuable and not freely given just because she's reappeared. This approach isn't about playing games. It's about setting a standard for the kind of connection you want to have. When you maintain composure, you're sending a message that you're not swayed by temporary emotions. It demonstrates that you're confident in yourself and don't rely on her attention to feel validated. This establishes a level of respect and intrigue around you, as she begins to see you not just as a romantic interest, but as someone who values their own worth. It's a subtle but powerful way to command respect and admiration. By remaining patient, you allow her to invest more genuinely in the connection, creating a foundation for a relationship built on mutual respect rather than impulsive reactions. Your composure sets the tone for the relationship, making it clear that your attention is earned, not demanded. This level of self-respect not only makes you more attractive, but also lays the groundwork for a healthier, more balanced connection. Section 7. The power of silence. Why less is more. Silence can often communicate more than words when used effectively. It's a powerful tool in relationships. When you stop reaching out, you're not just removing words, you're creating space for reflection, both for you and for her. Silence allows her to experience life without your influence, which can lead to profound realizations. In this quiet, she's left to confront her own feelings without the distraction of constant communication. She begins to notice the void, feel the lack of your presence, and assess what that absence truly means. It's in the silence that she starts to see the value of your companionship. By embracing silence, you give her the space to dwell in her own thoughts and emotions, allowing her to feel your absence more deeply. This isn't about ignoring her or playing hard to get. It's about creating a respectful distance that lets her fully understand her own emotions. The power of silence lies in the fact that it speaks volumes without saying anything, allowing her to realize the importance of your presence on her own. Section 8. Re-establishing your own value, the art of self-focus. While she's navigating her own responses, your primary focus should be on your own growth and well-being. When you stop reaching out, you're not just withdrawing attention from her, you're redirecting it back to yourself. This is the time to focus on your goals, hobbies, passions, and personal development. By focusing on self-growth, you reinforce your own value, demonstrating that you're someone who doesn't rely on external validation for fulfillment. When she sees you thriving, it naturally elevates your appeal. It shows confidence, independence, and ambition, qualities that make you inherently attractive, not just to her, but to everyone around you. Self-focus is a powerful way to establish your worth. It allows you to grow as an individual while also increasing the value you bring to any relationship. When you invest in yourself, you become someone who draws people in naturally as they recognize the strength and purpose you embody. Section 9. Letting her initiate, the true test of interest. One of the clearest signs of genuine interest is whether she initiates contact herself. When you step back, you create a space where she must decide if the connection is worth pursuing. If she reaches out, it's a clear signal that she values the relationship enough to take action rather than simply enjoying the attention you provide. Allowing her to initiate contact isn't about being passive. It's about setting a boundary that encourages genuine effort. It shows that you're not willing to chase or force anything, but are open to connections built on mutual respect and interest. By waiting for her to make the first move, you establish a dynamic where your attention is valued and respected. This approach ensures that the relationship is balanced, with both parties actively choosing to engage. It creates a foundation based on interest and effort from both sides, leading to a more fulfilling and genuine connection. Section 10. Staying true to your standards, building a lasting connection. When you pull back, you're not just creating distance, you're setting a precedent for the kind of relationship you're willing to have. This is your chance to communicate your own standards, making it clear that you prioritize respect, commitment, and mutual interest. By holding steady to these standards, you naturally attract people who share those values. Maintaining your standards isn't about being rigid or inflexible. It's about creating a connection that aligns with your values and expectations. This ensures that anyone who enters your life does so with a clear understanding of what you stand for, leading to a healthier and more meaningful relationship. By staying true to your standards, you filter out connections that are not truly invested in you, leading to a relationship that's more rewarding and genuine. This approach helps create a relationship dynamic based on mutual respect, interest, and commitment. Staying true to your standards not only elevates your own value, but also leads to a lasting connection built on genuine admiration and appreciation. When you prioritize respect and shared values, you establish a relationship rooted in authenticity, ensuring a stronger, deeper connection. Section 11. The final impact. Why she sees you differently. Once she's experienced life without you, she gains a new perspective on who you are and what you bring to her life. This isn't just about rekindling attraction, it's about a deeper appreciation for your unique qualities. Your absence allows her to see you in a new light, one that isn't clouded by the predictability of routine. This shift is profound because it's no longer based on superficial attraction or fleeting emotions. It's a genuine recognition of the unique impact you had on her life. That recognition brings with it a deep admiration. By stepping back and allowing her to experience this journey, you elevate your own value and create a foundation for a relationship built on respect, genuine interest, and mutual appreciation.